Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is organics. You know, people think that their food has always been organic and their food has always been pure. And I used to eat food from the 60s and 70s and this and that. And they've always had this impression that we've always been fed pure foods. Well, that's not the case. Organic food has been something that has not been mainstream for decades now, and people just assume that, hey, I've been eating organic and because I'm buying it in the store and it looks pretty, and and it's, what else would they be putting in it? And a lot of old timers really think this. As I told a story just recently, how an old timer came in to sell me his espresso beans, and he basically told me that his espresso beans, an old Italian guy, that his espresso beans are organic, when in fact there's no certification, there's no paper trail, and there's nothing. But his perception is, well, why would they put all these harmful chemicals onto coffee beans? And of course, he just doesn't know. He's not educated. But because he's not educated, he's now telling people, oh, I have organic coffee. I think Starbucks was guilty of that as well. I think in the early 90s, maybe late 80s. I'm not sure quite when exactly that was, but they were marketing organic coffee beans that weren't indeed organic. So organic has been a term that's just basically been thrown around because people just assume that, hey, I have pure natural food. Well, ever since World War II, and even before that, but really World War II, there was a huge strain to put the food supply, to up our food supply. And that's when all these mass chemicals came out, especially in the 50s, to be able to so-called make us grow more crops, more profit, more chemicals, more. So don't think that you've always been consuming this organic food. Now, if you're growing it yourself and this and that, that's a whole different thing. But once you're in the grocery store, there's a reason why celery looks perfectly fine and apples are perfectly fine. There's a lot that goes on in these. And I always tell the story how I met a potato farmer in Colorado years ago in the late 90s who wouldn't eat his own potatoes because of the chemicals they were spraying on it. But he was smart enough to eat his neighbor's potatoes who grew organically. So it's the more research you do, the more shocked you are. So here's an article that I just picked up from Forbes.com. 70 years later, Big Food brings organic mainstream. Back in 1947, J.I. Rodale founded the Soil and Health Foundation, later to be renamed the Rodale Institute, in order to learn more about and teach the tenets of organic farming based on his theory that to preserve and improve our health, we must restore and protect the natural health of our soil. That is such a profound concept, especially back in the 40s. There was late 40s. He knew that there was a problem back then in the late 40s that, hey, our food is going for a roller coaster ride in the wrong way. So J.I. Rodale was a pioneer in this, and he knew that, and he saw the problems in 47 to get back to organic back then. Rodale went on to write numerous books and, of course, give us Prevention Magazine. And the Institute is still going to this day. So the Rodale Institute has done lots and lots of studies over and over and over how organic farming is better in drought years, how organic farming produces better, the nutrition of organic versus conventional. There are tons and tons of studies that the Rodale Institute has performed. And they're sort of like the benchmark for when it comes to organic research. So now he's back in 1947 saying, hey, there's something wrong with our food supply. We need to make changes. But it's not until 2008 that, hey, the big companies start waking up, that the big guys are like, hey, we got to get involved in this. They were sort of involved in it a little bit before, but now 2008 on, they're like massive, full-throated in, let's do this, let's rock this out. You have Whole Foods that's flourishing. You have Costco, which is like, hey, we are now the number one largest organic retailer. You have General Mills that has bought up all these organic companies like Cascadian Farms. Applegate was even sold. Applegate Organics, the ones who do the hot dogs and the bratwurst organically, no added nitrates. They were even bought by a massive company. I think actually Hormel bought them, Hormel Ham. which is a massive, massive, massive pork producer. So there is little doubt that organic food and beverages continue to grow in market share and abundance of products, and is no longer the fuel of choice for hippies. Mainstream America has embraced organics and have made Kroger's organic line of private brands one of the fastest growing in the history of supermarketing. That's right. Kroger's private label, the fastest growing brand of anything out there, conventional or organic. So it should come to no surprise that huge food companies like General Mills have followed suit. The Big G, as in General Mills, announced that it expects to reach $1 billion in net sales from natural and organic products by 2019. From its brands that include Cascadian Farm, Muir Glen, Larabar, Liberty, Mountain High, Food Should Taste Good, Immaculate Baking, and Annie's, making General Mills the third largest natural and organic food maker in the U.S. So there's two more in front of them, and they're looking at doing $1 billion in sales. And the second largest buyer of organic fruits and vegetables. Interesting. So this is a let's get to page 2 here of this article here. Last year, General Mills announced its goal to reduce absolute greenhouse gas emissions across its entire value chain over the next 10 years, with a long-term aspiration to achieve by 2050 sustainable emission levels in line with scientific consensus. And while it's doubtful the move will bring Lucky Charms back to its former glory, there is no doubt that the move will help all of us and is a great example of how big food can be better food. 100% agree, big food can be better food. Will it be as good as the food you grow yourself? Will it be as good as the food you buy at a farmer's market? Probably not. Okay, so don't think that going to the store and buying some big brand organic is the answer and the solution. Keep supporting local, grow yourself, go to a farmer's market, get involved in conversation, become part of a CSA, community supported agriculture, where you pay a certain amount beginning of the year, and every week they bring you what's in season and an abundance, typically a lot of abundance, boxes of fresh produce, fruits, potatoes. I mean, it's an amazing. Even some of these CSAs now grow rice. It is really amazing what you can get out of community supported agriculture. That's basically where you pay a share of the farm, and the farmers, they grow it, and based upon how many shares you buy, that's what they deliver to your house every single week for a certain amount of the year. But now with all the storage crops, potatoes and grains and all these things, the season can go well into the wintertime in North America. So that's really the best way to understand where your food's coming from and get involved. And when you have to go to the grocery store, when you do go to the grocery store, make the best choices possible. If you see an organic supplier for canned tomatoes, buy that as opposed to General Mills products. For example, like Eden Foods. Eden Foods has a great company, great policies, really fantastically strict on everything that they package and grow. So that compared to General Mills is a big difference. So even when you walk into these big stores, there's a difference in the foods you're going to buy that are organic. But the name of the game here is organic is here. Organic is here to stay. The big companies know it. And Rodale was well ahead of his time in 1947, advocating we must change our food supply, and here's what we have to do: healthy soil, healthy environment, healthy us. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely pass it on.